It's almost the perfect cocktail of variables that get people thinking about supernatural ideas and possibilities. When you watch a horror movie, you're watching it to escape. Even though you know it's a movie, you're thinking about things that are outside of conventional thinking or scientific understanding of the world. People become more open-minded to or more interested in supernatural ideas. And so when you watch these movies, it just kind of puts you in the right mindset to want to see patterns or to, believe in conspiracies or to believe in curses.
With The Omen, what you have is a series of coincidences or incidents then that people then weave into a narrative about a curse.
That's what coincidence theory is about. It's just trying to get connections between what is rational and what is weird. And, on the one hand, rational can look weird too.
Our brains are designed to believe all sorts of things, whether they're ghosts, poltergeists, angels and demons and gods and aliens and conspiracies. We evolved this propensity to just see patterns everywhere, just assume everything is connected. Okay, we're about to show you a short clip of 3 basketball players dressed in black and 3 basketball players dressed in white. Each of them is passing a basketball back and forth between themselves. Your task is to count the number of passes between just the 3 white-shirted players. All right, you ready? Go. How many of you saw the gorilla? What? What gorilla? Here it is again. I'll rewind it. Oh, come on, that's a different tape, Shermer. No, it's the same one. So the famous gorilla experiment, this was done by Christopher Chabris and his team, in which they were testing to what extent people do not see things in their environment. It's like, how could you miss a gorilla? Well, 50% of subjects don't see the gorilla. And the reason is because they're attending to counting the number of passes. And by being focused on one thing, you might miss something that's completely obvious right there in front of you. Half. This is interesting cognitively because it shows how much we miss that's right there in front of us. Not only do we see things that are not real, we miss things that are real. Now, we're talking about cursed horror films. I would like you to think about putting those films that are cursed in a box. And we're going to put this box right here, and then we're going to draw a square around it, in which we have 3 other boxes. So in this box, number 1, we have cursed horror films, Poltergeist and The Crow and The Exorcist and so on. Now what I want you to think about is the second box over here, which are cursed non-horror films. Superman, Christopher Reeves fell off a horse, broke his neck, and Apocalypse Now, Martin Sheen has a heart attack and all these weird things that happen. Okay, why aren't we talking about that cell? Because they're not horror films. In this box down here, I want you to think about non-cursed horror films like The Shining.
Come and play with us, Daddy.
This is one of the scariest films ever made. No curses. Or more recently, It. Or Get Out. Why don't we notice those? And then the fourth category, of course, is non-cursed, non-horror films. Pick any of them. Citizen Kane, Casablanca, people had long careers after that. Nothing weird happened. So you have to keep in mind all 4 categories and remind yourself, look, I'm only focusing on this one, but all the other ones, put it into context. And when you see the bigger picture, you realize, okay, there's actually nothing to be explained.
Seeing patterns in the world, that's how we form meaning, that's how we learn to exist. And that can extend to seeing patterns where there aren't patterns. Maybe it's a significant coincidence, maybe it was a message sent to me from somewhere. There's the case of Mark Chapman, the guy who killed John Lennon. So he was outside John Lennon's apartment in New York City, wondering if he should actually go through with it. Just at that moment, Mia Farrow walked by, and she starred in Rosemary's Baby. And then he recognized that the building is called the Dakota. It was used in the filming of Rosemary's Baby, which was directed by Roman Polanski, whose wife, Sharon Tate, was murdered by the Manson family. And they were a fan of the Beatles song Helter Skelter. And of course, John Lennon is in the Beatles. And he took this as a sign that he should go through with it and kill John Lennon.
Horror films tend to, in a bizarre way, mirror real life.
What are they doing? Why do they come here?
Some kind of instinct, memory, what they used to do.
The mirror of real life is that we are frightened of things that could go wrong in the world. It's the same reason we love coincidence stories. We love coincidence stories because it gives us a feeling that the world is smaller than it is.